We're back, everyone, with the LCS Challengers League. Just finished our first series of the day, and somehow it went to distance, but Wildcard able to clutch out at the very end right there. Had a lot of fun with that, and as we start to move on to our next game, I mean, we're getting to teams that are much more closer to each other in the standings as they did head into playoffs, but now EGC versus AOE waits in the wings, and as we said, it's still going to be a very, very big one for these provisional teams when they are in the lower bracket. It's do or die for AOE or go into the promotional relegation tournament.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is this is still the lower bracket. This is still the elimination games, and I think both teams really wanting to bounce back after some rough round one performances, and especially with the way that the kind of matchups clash here, it's a perfect storm for that.
And as we get into this match, I mean, it definitely does feel like a perfect storm. We're already getting some of the most hype matchups, and with everything going on within the league, I feel like this is another one that can go the distance between these two teams. And AOE, EGC, they're definitely teams that are going through their own adversities, their own trials and tribulations as they try and find their own strengths, their own way to play the rest of the NACL. I do want to start pulling up the rosters right now, as we'll start up with AOE. Now, this is a team where we've been seeing a lot of high points coming out from their bot side as they try and make a name for themselves and maybe utilize that playoffs buff from Gamsu, Cubby.
Yeah, I think that AOE, like, they've been a team that for me, when they have found wins, and like this is a team that they were lower in our standings, but still their record was a little bit closer to 500 given how weak some of our bottom teams were. I thought it was through their bot lane. I thought the Lynx and SkyTech were actually a bot lane that at times they were able to stand up with some pretty good bot lanes that we had in Challengers, and unfortunately they got kind of dunked by one of the better bot lanes that we have in Challengers in Array and Prismal to start off their playoff run.
Yeah, it was a bit of a charade there down in the bot lane. I think there was a lot of strength from Prismal and Array just in the way that they approached the 2v2. But the thing about AoE is from the get-go, we've talked to Winnie, we've talked to these teammates, and it has been a Winnie-powered shout-calling kind of forward direction. And Lynx and SkyTech have taken advantage of that. SkyTech linking up with him has been huge, but that was something that was kind of lacking in that last series.
Throughout the season and what this team has played, there's been a lot of high moments, and there's definitely been a lot of low moments for their performances thus far. Cubby, I know you want to speak to that.
Yeah, so I mean, this was a series to me that I think the biggest part of this series was, I think game one, Young played really well, but game two, man, Array and Prismal's Blitzcrank just ran the Rift.
Yeah.
And that was it made for a really hard game for AoE. And again, this is a bot lane that I feel like, they were a shining spot for AoE in regular season. We saw a lot of good moments out of SkyTech, Lynx, these guys. And, we want to see more because we know that when these guys are at their best, they are a bot lane that can't contest with some of the other good bot lanes that we have in NACL. But also, that's how this team was able to win games. It was playing through bot, with Winnie putting a lot of his focus here. So if they want to move on in this tournament, definitely have to see them step up today, Marcel.
And it's about moving together, right? We were talking, or at least I was saying, that Winnie is like super important of setting direction, but they need to have the strength from Lynx and SkyTech joining there. And you see in teamfights the crucial moments that it is Lynx able to put out a lot of damage, but it's a lot of the guiding light from SkyTech, from Winnie, to help that happen. And against Evil Geniuses, you've got to have that happen.
Yeah, these are their opponents right now. Evil Geniuses Challengers. Lots of big names when it came to prospective talent over last year with both Shaden and Soul. Ryoma coming in late in the season. Mobility having to step in as that sub. They've been trying to find their identity throughout the season. We've seen a lot of improvements coming out of this squad, but again, we're in the lower bracket, and this is do or die time, Cubby.
And for me with EG, I think that, for AoE, I mean, this is a bot lane, going up against Array and Prismal, that's tough, but they can actually look to exploit mobility and smoothie. It hasn't been one of the stronger bot lanes that we have had in Challengers, but for me, the big thing with EG is that when EG has put wins on the board, when they have been good, it has been through Shaden and Ryoma. Yeah. And I think we saw some decent moments from the two of them in the first series we saw in playoffs, but it wasn't enough. And this game, I thought EG played all right this game. In game one, I think the comp was kind of hard to win later because Fear just had such a desperate, team fight comp, and EG just didn't have the damage to play in the team fights. But Shaden, when he's at his best, he is one of the best players in the league. He didn't have a great first playoff series. And again, if EG wants to move forward, we're going to need to see that form of Shaden that we know he can bring to the table.
And that's the craziest thing is like this team was initially built around Shaden, right? A lot of pieces being included because Shaden needs to have a lot of space to thrive. But when Ryoma came in, we saw all that focus kind of pull into Ryoma and trying to get that going for him. But that is why we are putting so much presence on. And we need to see that Shaden that had that 5 in a row insane KDA streak on the Viegos, on the Graves. We need to see that come back in if we're going to see EGC thrive in playoffs.
I mean, with the last game we just witnessed, right? NXI showed that carry jungling now has a pretty big impact, and Shaden was one of our most phenomenal carry junglers that we've had in season. As you've seen through some of these plays, that was from that so 5 close. Streak where he got double-digit kills, 5 games in a row. Shaden can be that absolute beast, man.
I mean, he was eating 3 bans, first 3.
He was.
In both of the last drafts from Fear. So I'm actually curious if AOE takes that strategy for themselves and takes away all the Shaden champs in solo queue, you know, like the Kindred, like the Graves, like the Viego. Definitely something that EG has proven they can win on, and it put Shaden really on the back foot early. So again, we know he's a great player. If EG wants to move forward, he's going to have to be someone that steps up and really fills and steps up to the mantle that we know Shaden can compete at.
All right, the stage is set. I'm going to leave the rest to you guys. Mazel and Cubby, take it away.
Thank you so much, Deserex. We're going to be getting into it now. Our first game of our second series of the day, an elimination game. AOE on the verge of going to that relegation tournament. EGC being one of the first teams to be eliminated, a challenger team at that. We will get the Kindred ban, so Shaden scooping up some of those bans on the ban table here. At least AOE doing that research. The Varus, though, ban from EGC.
Graves or Viego? Do we just keep on taking away Shaden champs?
Yes.
It's tough, man. I mean, we know, like, Shaden, he's good at other champs than just, like, what is getting banned. But I think it really does speak to the changes that we saw in jungle and just how good Shaden is at these champions. Again, if you aren't familiar with Challengers or Shaden, he was someone that held rank 1 and rank 2 on the ladder at the same time. A lot of it was from playing the Kindred, playing the Graves, playing the Nidalee, and a little bit of Lee Sin, too.
Is the Viego there? I think the Lee Sin actually takes more priority here. I've really liked Lee Sin coming back into the meta. It's been so insane in terms of mechanical execution. But you see EGC taking a lot of the safety off of the bot lane here. A lot of that strength being taken away from Lynx and Skytech, that shining part.
We see Viego. I mean, that's the question. Like AOE, they saw how Fear beat EG. They can just use that.
Is there anything else that you would see that would take priority, I guess?
I mean, if you want to set up a blind pick for B1, there's a lot of other things on the table that you can ban on this patch. Of course, we're on 13.5. Not a lot of other regions are on 13.5. So,
the Lee Sin.
Yeah, a lot of us are trying to kind of figure out this patch. And honestly, that Lee Sin ban, that's curious to me because maybe AOE, they want to first pick that Viego. That could be an option for him when he played it in their last series against Golden Guardians.
So, something I would really like to see, though, from Winnie in this one, I know we've said a lot of forward direction from AOE comes from him. He's been very vocal about that. The team has as well. But I want to see a little bit of reactive play come through because I expect Shaden to try to be a lot more aggressive. We have seen him go into facilitating picks, but I want to see Winnie be able to respond to Shaden trying to carry, and maybe that does come off with some maybe little more sustain heavy jungles, things like that. But we get the triple ADC focus by EGC and trying to find a little bit of that give in the bot lane 2v2.
All right, so I guess AOE and EG both know like what our focus is too, right? We have 3 bans towards the bot lane that we were asking, like, hey, you know, they got beat up pretty good by Ray Prismal, but we know that when AOE wins, it's through these guys. And then AOE is like, Shaden's a problem. We're going to copy Fear's strategy and take away 3 champs as well. But Xayah, because of all the, very niche focus on a couple roles, AOE decides, hey, if we have marksman off the table, we're going to grab Xayah.
Does Smoothie steal the Rakan?
Yeah, Skytech is a fantastic Rakan player. I think Smoothie's been good at Rakan too. Love the fact you highlight that, Mazel, is an option now for EG to take that away. And then also if EG, if they want Viego, it is on the board.
Yeah, it would be... I do wonder what their first pick is going to be. Okay, they go with the Jinx. So at least on today, we've seen that rise into heavy priority, at least for a lot of teams. And again, we were talking about some of that lacking of Lynx and Skytech, but I think one of the weakest points of AGC has been the bot lane mobility and Smoothie, and they now have a little bit of eggs in their basket and facilitation from Shaden in that Sejuani. We have seen Soul play it, but I expect this.
They're giving Rakan... I would love to see Rakan Gragas here from AoE. I feel like that gives you really strong engage onto the Jinx. Also, Gragas would be a 3-way flex.
That is true.
And I know that Winnie can play it. Darkwings plays everything, man, so I just kind of assume that Darkwings can play it. So I think that would be a really good strategy. And we know Gamsu can play it too, so I would love to see maybe a Gragas come out here for AoE.
Maybe a little bit of Gamsu buff with the Gragas. I do love, obviously, the Lovers Duo for Lynx and Skytech. While it provides a lot of damage, it is also, like you said, one of Skytech's premier champions. It is the Viego, stolen away. Winnie wants that, and a little bit of presence given to Winnie.
Okay, big focus on that Viego. Again, that Sejuani showing. EG has played a lot of Sejuani top with a Viego, but now jungle showing. EG could get a choice to pick against it if they would like. But Ryoma, that Sylas, it's been a really big pick from. Of course, that melee synergy with Sejuani is big, and you would be able to ban out Akali if you take the Sylas now.
All right.
All right, gonna wrap up the bot lane. We have Thresh for Smoothie.
I like the Smoothie Thresh angle here, especially with a little bit of that safety, but also that engage potential there. The peel back as well. We'll see the solo lane focuses come down in the second phase of bans as EGC ban away the Olaf. We also get that Yone ban by AOE.
Ooh, so Yone, that's actually curious because that's very targeted at Soul. Soul was a Yone player when he first came up on the ladder, when he was going under the tag Anime Girl, and we actually have seen him pull out that Yone in the later half of the season.
Okay.
Also, the Annie takeaway from EG, I do respect that. I think Annie Viego is a really good combo. Again, Annie, for me, the real strength of Annie, not only the flexibility of draft, but if you do go mid, winning that 2v2. So I think that having Annie taken off the board when a Viego showing is smart. Akali being taken off the board, though, these are 2 counters to Sylas. Also 2 counters to Azir. Now that's curious for me because Azir got a lot of changes on this patch. I'm not expecting to see Azir from a lot of our teams here, but maybe Darkwings is thinking that. I don't know.
Darkwings has gone to the Azir in his past, also one of his comfort champions, it feels like. But we did see a rise in prominence last series of the Orianna. I would love actually to see that with the combination because you have a great ball delivery system with it, and it will be the lock-in for Darkwings.
So I think part of this now is another one of the melees that Ryoma can play is Sylas. I know from talking with some of the mid laners, I feel like Sylas versus Ori, especially when you have a Sejuani on the Sylas side, it's actually a more even matchup, but Ori is pretty good in the Sylas in isolation. So I think that leaving that up, that's a matchup that Darkwings would be confident enough to play. Now, Ryoma, he is willing to take the Ryze into that Orianna, and I will say that Ryze, there's more damage around Ryze this time. I know it's not the melee mid laner. He's a really good Ryze player, and I would not be against Ryze here for Ryoma.
We've seen him kind of pick apart the map with Ryze, which is not alone just the damage and the kind of scaling potential with it, but it is also just the fact that you can play the macro game against AoE. But we see the Sylas opt into here for Ryoma, and a little bit of a different style comp, a little bit more carry potential there for mobility and safety on the bottom side. But EGC, they are trying to find a way into that late game here, it feels like, and get to those team fights.
I mean, Gnarl really is enough to be like, all right, you know what? We can pick up the Sylas here. But I think it's a lot of comfort on each of our teams. I mean, we have Rakan for Skytech. I think that's his best champion.
I like the Rel, but, that's just
that's true. Darkwing's on a Control Mage. Gamsu on the Gnar. This feels like a very comfortable comp for AoE. And then EG, playing with that Sejuani flex and having the Sylas mid is also something that we've seen them have success on. As Ryoma, I think his Sylas has been really good. And a lot of the games for EG, it feels like, if Shade and Ryoma can carry, EG can win. If not, not the case. And this is definitely a setup where at least Shade and Ryoma will be empowered to be proactive early.
And that's where I want to look at the other side for Winnie, because I was saying maybe I wanted to see a little bit more of that reactive play here, but the Viego definitely needs some resources, and I think you'll have some great synergy between the top trio. But as we hit to the Rift, the eyes are on these junglers. Where are they pathing to early? Where will Shaden get off the ground for his team? And how does Winnie direct the shot calling for AoE? This is a do-or-die matchup in a best-of-3 for AoE and EGC.
All right, so I'm going to start with, where are our junglers going early, Mazel? We go out on a whim and say, I think that Shaden's going to actually make some plays around mid. I think that him and Ryoma have been playing pretty well together. And curiously enough, I think Darkwings... so Phase Rush is really nice in the Sylas, because with where the trading pattern kind of works out, if you QW, auto or E, you can get a move speed buff. And try and use that to dodge out on the second part of the Abscond Abducts and to not get stunned. That's where Ori is actually pretty good in the matchup, because you can use your W at your feet. You can gain move speed, decrease Sylas' move speed, and then you have more time to react to the Abscond Abduct. So I think that's a big one. I like the Phase Rush tech coming out of Darkwings, and they're actually going to give him early level 2 as well. That's pretty big in the matchup. So
look at that.
played by AoE. Yeah.
Little things, little things. Speaking of, though, spam in chat who you think's going to win EGC for Evil Geniuses Challengers, AOE for AOE Gold. We'll see. Right now, it's AOE in full advantage, at least of the fan vote, 60-40. Now, as we hit to lane, it is that opposite side starts for both junglers, while AOE have the information advantage, at least early on.
Nice trade from Ryoma, as... Again, I'm really expecting Shaden to play through mid. I think Shaden, he's really played through Ryoma the most. I know that, from talking with EG, Ryoma, they feel like it's been a pretty good pairing for Shaden, being that younger player. Ryoma having so much experience and also skill and success in this league. He's kind of, as they put it, made sure, like, trying to teach Shaden as much as they can for Ryoma. So that's been definitely something that EG's been excited about. And I see if some of those teachings, though, can pay off now if they want to stay alive in playoffs. And
that's where I find it so interesting. It has been a lot of growing pains, obviously, a lot of changes in the roster throughout the regular season. Mobility kind of being there as a stopgap, but now having been there for the entire season and foreseeable future, at least, need to find a way to continue to integrate him in. But this roster was built around Shaden, right? A premier prospect coming over from Cloud9 Academy last year, and Soul as well coming over for TSM. This was trying to be a would-be super team.
I think Shaden's going to try and actually still go for mid, but it's still warded up. He's going to run into a zombie ward here, and that's going to be a real bummer. So I don't know if he can sneak around that one. But Winnie, when he crossed, he actually was hovering mid. And again, that really tells me how much AoE knows that Shaden loves to play around mid. And this is funny because actually Smoothie's going to come up. They're going to try and get around that ward. I don't know if they skirted around the vision. You can see Darkwings. He's scooting up the river. Yeah, he's smelling something fishy right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of missing people on the map and no real big information after that initial. So nice little reserve play from Darkwings, AoE, and getting away with a little bit of a roam from EG.
That's well done. I mean, Jinx was at least able to take that really, donkey base, as some of us like to call it. So a little bit of an item advantage now in the bot side for EG. The 3-wave base,
The donkey base?
That's sometimes what I like to call it.
Okay. Is there a correlation? Is there a reasoning?
Yeah, because it's a freebie.
How is that a donkey? Wait, you bring up animals to me? You gotta have some explanation. Why?
That's fair.
There's nothing? No, you just ride into customers for, hey, is there a reason for this?
It's because I like it,
Okay.
Speaking of because I like it, I like that tweet. That's cool.
I do too. Appreciate y'all's dedication and hard work. Well, we do it so that these players can have stories to tell as they move through the development. That is why we're here and why we love what we do. I wouldn't have it any other way. Now we get into this one. The first clears are starting to come through. We will have Dragon out on the Rift in about 30 seconds. Where we saw last series, there was a lot of focus on early game Dragons. We'll see if that is the case here. Skytech traded on pretty heavy early. That back completed, though, from Shaden.
Nice play from Winnie, though, early. He actually took the respawn Raptors. Part of that was opened up when Darkwings was roamed on. He walked top and got that ward down on the Raptor camp. So that is part of the reason why Winnie was able to go get that. So that's a small lead in the jungle. That's the most valuable camp to take on the respawn. Good for Winnie. He's going to eat up all of his respawn camps and have a really strong first base.
And we actually see Shaden trying to clear up a little bit of vision down here as well. Bot lane still pretty contested, but Shaden trying to find every in he can to facilitate some early gold towards Ryoma. That dragon is the Infernal Dragon, so maybe a little bit more priority given to this early one. It looks like Shaden going for it.
Oh, level 6.
Oh my god, Soul? The all-out comes through. Soul is going for it. He's got the dashes. The knockback's not there. And Gamsu gets out. And are we ever going to talk about the elephant in the room of the Gamsu playoff buff?
I mean, we'll wait for when Gamsu does something good, which we're expecting. As Gamsu, of course, he has made the last 3 finals here in then Proving Grounds, now Challengers, is at the moment Winnie. So again, Winnie had a really strong first base. Looks like Shaden was trying to actually take this because Darkwings, he's yet to TP back. So Ryoma, he's going to base TP. Shaden was trying to sneak that Dragon, actually going to be pushed off. So Winnie sets Shaden even further behind in this matchup again. Down to Sejuani, Shaden is trying to be a playmaker, but still small wins here for AoE. Really nice early and really nice for Winnie especially.
And again, I was asking for some kind of reactive play to what EG want to do, and we've seen, as you were calling out earlier, that has been the ticket here for AoE. They're just trying to work around what EG want, and now trying to strike on their own onto Ryoma in the mid lane.
Yeah, they get his control ward for free. That's going to feel good on the side of AOE. So again, this mid-jungle duo that we kind of set up for EG is like, hey, this is how EG wins quite a bit of their games. They have the ability to play through mid. So far, AOE's done a really nice job of playing defense around that. Like, they dodged out on the 3-wave crash roam bot from Smoothie. They had good vision set up. They've even been able to deny Shading camps while he has utilized the time to try and look for plays. It's gotten Winnie a nice lead, and Darkwings has a CS lead too. So really good scouting and good stuff from AOE in this game.
So far, so good with no action on the Rift just yet. We still haven't gotten that early priority around Dragon. We had the early try, at least from Shaden, but we saw everything backed off there. That vision is still there from AOE, and I think they're perfectly fine playing with how they are. As we've said, they are just approaching this one, figuring out where EG want to go and trying to punish those mistakes if they are there.
And for me, when you have a Sejuani Silas comp, a lot of it's about first Rift Herald. And you can see EG actually got bot shove, will be caught by AoE, but you gotta expect Smoothie to go walk mid from here. We'll see where Mobility wants to go, but we are 20 seconds away from that Rift Herald. And EG could be a fight they really want to snag.
And the last time we saw EG, especially, in game 1 of that series, they had looked good. Like, they had looked like the kind of comp that they wanted to set up. They were getting a lot of strengths where we wanted them, Shaden and Ryoma, but it didn't pan out even in that first game. So I want to see a little bit of that piloting in mid-game, late-game come to fruition for EGC. AoE will take some of this macro movement that they've set up for themselves and get a Rift Herald.
Now, it is mini. For the Gnar. So Skytech, it does have first move because of the bot shove, but that Gnar is mini. Silas can steal Gnar ult. EG is going to look for a fight maybe on the back half here. Oh no.
Out of there goes AoE. They do get that Rift Herald, and yep, as you said, so some extra gold looming for AoE on the Rift.
I think a big deal of that, again, like Shaden, he's still looking for his level 6. Doesn't have it, didn't feel like he could fight the level 6 Winnie. So I think setting the Sejuani behind a couple times early that led to a free Rift Herald for AoE. They're off to a really nice start early here, Mazel.
And they're going to snowball that kind of early tempo into this Dragon as well. Look at the push in mid lane leading to Darkwings on the roam.
AoE having a really nice game as Captain Winnie leading the troops around, but oh boy, EG might get frisky here.
Smoothie roaming over here, does have that Dark Passage to get somebody over the wall, but Skytech's going for the quickness, goes for the flash as well. The Dark Passage is there, but it's EG going back in for the engage. Ryoma, he's getting low, flash from Winnie is not enough. He does not have the Heartbreaker anymore, and Winnie goes down to first blood.
How did Ryoma get away with that, man? That was so illegal for Ryoma to go into a 2v4. He sneaks out, and they actually get a kill out of that. No way.
Actually insane. The all-out comes through onto a mini Gnar Gamsu. Dodging out, though, will be Gamsu himself. First blood still over to EGC. Did get Dragon over to AoE. But that is exactly what you want to see. A little bit of fight back from Evil Genius.
This is 2v4. Why? I have no idea why Ryoma goes back in here. He's like, all right, yeah, you know what? We'll take this. We get charmed up. We get a shockwave. Flashes away, able to
calculated.
Escape Winnie through the blast cone. Actually throws him into the team. That's one way to make some plays, Ryoma. He's going to flash the B-boat. 2v4, he actually picks one up. I mean, really nice for EG.
Really good stuff. I would love to see a little bit of the comms in that situation because that's got to be so tense for that first blood. As now Winnie back on the map trying to figure out where this Rift Herald will go next after first blood and some gold given over to Shaden, which will enable it.
I am curious. I gotta say, this is going to be a reset from Gamsu. I think Shaden's, he's clearing away from top, but keep in mind, there is no more flash onto Gamsu. And that is definitely something that EG can look to punish, but at the moment, you're going to try and anticipate Skytech's roam mid.
Darkwing's the only one with flash left. Flash is out, so no flashes on AoE anymore. Shaden doing the work here with that roam from Smoothie as well.
Oh, well played there by Ryoma. Just grabbing the shockwave and making good use of the hijack. As
baiting them out.
Yeah.
But now it's about the return.
Yeah, I know. With Summoner Spells down, I mean, Sejuani becomes such a horror, right? Because that Glacial Prison, I mean, that's can just lead to a one-tap on you.
Mobility flashing out. Lynx maybe trying to go for that one, but that's a flash out of EG. The bot lane island getting a little bit spicy down there. EG will move down.
Like Skytech actually looking to cut off EG here because they have more members. And Ryoma has no ult.
Jaden has the Glacial Prison. Nice. As that stop of the engage is pulled through for EG.
Lynx.
And Lynx is in a bit of trouble. There's the Glacial Prison used. He did go over the wall. SkyTech there to defend.
Honestly, a little unlucky there from the side of Shaden and EG, as he was able to actually buffer that. I think if they catch him, maybe we see some follow-up. He would have been able to at least get the W damage, or like that one Glacial Prison.
That was a really good death sentence, though, to stop SkyTech's engage.
Yeah, big fan of that. And honestly, I mean, it's keeping the gold lead up here for AOE. Smoothie just going to leash that cannon right over the mobility. Gets the nice caddy.
Fisticuffs! And he says, I win that. I'm sorry. Even if I've already died once, it's Viego with red and blue. So that will be the Scuttle Crab going over to AOE while we watch Gamsu. Still holding up at this top side, and it's about the team fight when Gamsu gets in there. Those flanks, those Meganar ultis, and now we finally see Winnie popping that Rift Herald mid lane for Dark Wings.
Also love Viego going for the Black Cleaver rush. I think this is the right build for Viego if you have like just like solo magic damage. Black Cleaver is so efficient right now, and Viego applies it really quickly with his passive. So I think that's a good call coming out of our Winnie.
Our Winnie.
Yeah, our Winnie.
Our Winnie. We do have those first items actually coming through, though. We get the Gale Force finally completed for Lynx. We're waiting on mobility to finish that back. But it is the Roa started for Ryoma. As actually looks like mobility is unable to finish that mythic item. So a little bit of a spike for AoE to play around. Speaking of spike, though, you got two of them for Soul.
Can he hit this one?
All out. The knock up. Here he goes. Oh.
Soul?
He can't. He flashes for it. He gets the solo bolo. He should go down immediately to the Heartbreaker, though, for Winnie.
Okay, Soul finds the kill. He does have to burn the flash for it. I don't think it's as worth it, but appreciate Soul for continuing to hunt onto Gamsu. And with Winnie showing top, I mean, maybe EG can turn this into a dragon. It is 30 seconds away. SkyTech's very far up.
Oh, SkyTech.
Nice
and
cancel.
yeah, I mean, the Thresh literally has all the tools to take care of the Rakan. The Flame Choppers, too. He does get out by going to Lynx, but the flash from Shaden.
Oh, no.
Shaden's trying to clean up. SkyTech, he gets out, but now Lynx is by himself. The Blade Caller, he might get one back. No, it's not enough. By a skin of his teeth. Woo! Shaden gets out. And we got Spice here now as Ryoma's trying to go for the kill of SkyTech. He does take it and has the Dark Passage out.
EG, man, they were able to find some kills in that skirmish, and props to Smoothie on the Thresh. We were setting up this game, Mazel, as the bot lane of AoE. They had the opportunity to step up against Mobility and Smoothie. They haven't been our strongest bot lane in Challengers, but Smoothie on the Thresh, man, he played that so well against SkyTech, who was isolated, was alone, but the CC lock from Smoothie, and then the follow-up, too, the Lancer get Ryoma out. Really good Thresh play coming out of Smoothie.
It's actually so crucial, and it's the little minute moments in the engages that SkyTech, or even the retreats that SkyTech is trying to do.
I mean, SkyTech, that's a greedy ward. We're going to put it that way, as, you know, Wave's about to meet. Just showed top for Winnie. So really good lockdown here. As Shaden, he tried to flash Glacial Prison to get the Rakan. They were able to get him the back half before we get more plays from Ryoma.
Engage, though. AoE caught out Winnie in a little bit of trouble here. Ryoma trying to chase him down. They actually don't have the distance. That's nice little use of the Shroud, but that is the Dragon.
Yep.
Number 1 to EGC. Give AoE actually move in here with SkyTech and Lynx just to bait him out a little bit.
Gamsu doesn't have TP, so I think that Soul can just sprint top, and it's all fine and dandy for EG. Really nice setup there for Ryoma again, who on the side was credit to Ryoma. He is a big playmaker for this team, and Ryoma is doing a really nice job of setting EG up for success at the moment. Yeah, good find. I mean, you got Winnie out immediately, right? Nothing else that AoE could do to contest.
Now we do have all flashes back up for AoE. Definitely something of significance. Definitely letting them play a little bit more aggressive down bot lane, even though they know they had a lot of focus down there. It is Winnie on the other side, using a little bit of this pressure from Dark Wings to get a Rift Herald.
EG makes a play on the bot side. AoE, they get out of there, respond with play on the top side. I think at this point it's a trade up for the side of EG, but still fine and dandy here as... Nice find there.
A little bit of 2v2. The Flame Chompers come through. Smoothie locked down, though, and now Lynx gets the kill. As Mobility, being able to kite that one out, Ryoma has made the roam. He has the Feather Storm himself. The Glacial Prison actually goes wide. SkyTech gives the kill to Mobility. Well, that's exactly where you want it to go.
They can still go. They can get the wave in and still go.
They're going to wrap around, absolutely. They throw the controller down. Lynx just has a little bit of time left to find something out, find out the plan. Featherstorm comes through. Blade Caller as well. Ryoma locked down, but he gets the heal back. And that is it, the Angry Bee, as EG have roared to life, or buzzed, if you will.
I mean, EG, they're dropping a lot for this. Like, mid, they're losing waves. They lost the tower, but again, Ryoma, he continues to make plays, and I think removing Lynx from the map at this point, good decision. We're getting mobility ahead on the Jinx. EG, we're pretty happy with that, because Jinx is the late game damage, so I think that Ryoma's risking a lot and going for these plays, but hey, props to him. It's connected so far as the bot lane of AOE falls again, but AOE, they respond. They take both solo lane turrets, mid and then top.
I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the Sejuani for Shaden, I was harkening back to when Ryoma came back into the league, and there was a lot of strength around this duo, but I wanted to see some carry Shaden. Well, he's carrying all right, but it's by enabling the rest of the team, and the fact that they're able to find these leads through mobility and smoothie is huge, because that has been that weakest point, and we'll see if AOE can find a contest here on the bottom side as maybe Soul into a 1v4 opportunity.
They're making plays, but I mean, look at the gold. It's still a 2k gold lead for AOE, and if you look at the CS differentials, AOE just playing out these lanes solidly, like, and Gnar wins over time against Cassante, if you're able to manage things right. Orianna, of course, that control mage scales really hard. And then Lynx, I mean, despite going down twice, still has a CS lead over mobility. So I don't know how worth this has all been for EG.
Well, we're going to find out as those team fights approach. That is where both these teams are really relying on. The tower finally falls. There should be a little bit of escape from Soul. The topside tower will go down as well as a response.
Dragon up 215. We're going to be hanging out until then. Mazel is pretty quiet, but I got to say, I think EG, if they want to have any hopes in this tournament, you know, going further than just this round, I think that the bot lane having a good performance for EG, that's a really good sign moving forward. I know it's been a tough spot for mobility. You know, he came to LA late. He was a sub. Like, he wasn't even really supposed to be here. He's done his best to improve. He hit rank 1 in CQ, which I give him a lot of credit for. I think mobility's done a really good job of just taking advantage of every opportunity that has been presented to him. And it's good to see some of that paying off now. Hold on.
Focus onto Ryoma. The Mega Gnar back. He's just trying to pull something from nothing. Be like a rabbit out of a hat. But there's no rabbit in the hat. It's just Ryoma going down.
Now, him dying there does lead to not only that outer turret being taken for EG, but also Soul. That's the bot outer turret as well. And they might get a push onto the inner. Mobility, yeah, he's safe here. He's got the Lantern.
AOE trying to collapse around this mid lane. Maybe even push a tier 2 of their own. But Gamsu is right there in the bottom to TP and protect that tier 2, while Darkwings and the rest of AOE actually making a nice heads-up play up here with the Rift Herald.
I mean, EG, they were forced to C-cell the map. They did so okay, but AOE, because they got the kill, they're the ones that are ahead at the moment. It's going to be the inner falling, which is, again, a lot of gold for AOE. So props to AOE. I think they played really nicely in this one.
Oh, they double TP'd.
Oh, boy.
They double TP'd. All right. Darkwings, this is not a happy bedtime story, although little shockwaves get him back in, and this should be a little bit of speed from Darkwings, dodging out of the Mega Death Rocket. Who's going to get the blood? And it is a shutdown to Ryoma.
It's 30 seconds until the Dragon. Darkwings doesn't have TP, so I think EG can sprint towards that unless they want to stick around for the Baron.
5 seconds to the Baron.
I think this is a little risky, but EG, they feel like they're a little bit behind in this game, or maybe comp-wise. They're really pushing hard. Okay, they're always going to force Skytech out. Yeah, they're going to clock past the Baron. Go play for this Dragon. I think the right call for EG, and they should get this for free. Darkwings in the gray screen for another 20 seconds, and no TP when he's up.
No TP indeed. Dragon is spawning now. This would be second Dragon for both teams, but EG in prime position for that one and given over by AOE.
I mean, it is a lot burned by EG to pull off this play, but I think it might get Ryoma the death cap. Like, he's sitting on 2 needlessly large rods right now. That's going to be enough to get him over the edge.
I was talking about magic tricks earlier. Well, there's the hat. Once he gets it.
Well, not bad. EG. I still think they're behind in this game, though. It's really tough because, like, they have to go in. Xayah was picked first, and EG drafted a comp. Like, they have to go into Xayah. The value of Lynx on this Xayah, even with how far behind Xayah has been, it's still going to be really high. And again, we're looking for Lynx and Skytech to step up if AOE wants to move forward. I feel like Lynx and Skytech has really been the strength that AOE's built a lot of their comps and a lot of their winning games off of. They're on, I like, Skytech's best champs for Khan. And I know that they've been really focused heavily by EG at the start of the game. Yeah. They could step up in the back half still, though, as Quick Blade's done. Could be
I
big.
think it's so interesting, though, the way that AOE have set up this roster here. There's a lot of just mainstays from the semi-pro scene, a lot of people who have seen some really high highs, at least here as well. And to kind of bring it all together, have this kind of camaraderie, hopefully, that brings you into this late game run and try to put into a lower bracket run here in the playoffs, would be so interesting, because we have seen, say, like Winnie at the top of his game. We saw Dark Wings last year on Dignitas. We've had SkyTech there before as well. And Gamsu, you just said it earlier, like 3 finals in a row. It's just insane.
Like when we looked at this roster, we kind of described it as like, all right, this is the roster that was built to not be relegated. Given the experience that these guys have and the level that we know this team can play at, they've been solid. They have to win 2 series now to at least give themselves a chance as wildcard. The tiebreaker for who ends up in the promotion relegation tournament is regular season record, so wildcard is in really good shape there. But AOE, and the least they can do is just play the best League of Legends they can, and so far I think they're doing a really nice job of that in this game.
Agreed.
I want that 3-7 fully on the scoreboard. They're up 3k gold and have a comp skills rather nicely. It's in good shape right now.
We have full 2 items completed across the board, except obviously for SkyTech, and that's a big power point now as well with the Norvori Quick Blades for Lynx, but especially that Seraph's completed for Dark Wings, and he also has it extra needlessly.
Also, I mean, just the double black cleaver too. Narviego is going to make sure that EG, a lot of their armor, especially that topside armor is going to be shredded. That sets up really nicely for Lynx, not to mention the other 2. So it's about if AOE can pull off the combo and get that first reset for the Viego. And if that doesn't happen, I mean, AOE is very comfortable playing out 3 lanes. Because at this point, Orianna, pretty safe in a side lane. Nar, very safe in a side lane. And we'll beat the Casantes. So AOE's chilling right now. They feel like they're in a pretty good game state.
And for me, for EG, it's about trying to dissect a lot of these team fights, right? You do have a lot of strength in the skirmishing, and mobility is set up in a really, really nice point. The IE completed second on a Jinx. Damage will be coming through at least a little bit, waiting on that 3rd item spike still a little bit more. But it is an important point here that AOE might be trying to pounce, but might be caught out themselves. Heartbreaker comes out in very heavy play.
Heads up, Ryoma's dead.
Yeah, this might be a little bit of trouble. Use all your movement, and that leaves you out to dry. EG making a mistake, and AOE capitalized.
Yeah, like, the buffer from Winnie was really sound there. It was able to get out of the shockwave that Ryoma did yoink, and that's a mid laner down. He's Grace Crane, he has TP, but he can't get back for 35 seconds.
4,000 gold lead now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Shaden's going to have to find a steal here.
Got a lantern.
The TP's coming in now from a Meganar Gamsu. Here comes Shaden, but here comes Gamsu getting the Meganar ulti into Smoothie. The Baron going down. Shaden's in the pit. He's blocked. He's not able to get there. Can AOE turn onto it, though? Look how much damage coming across. They're flashing. It's going to be Winnie that takes the kills, but Soul at least gets one back, 2 back. It's still Baron.
Nice.
AOE mobility on the Jinx is still so strong. He's on a killing spree now, and that's what we said was the bright point of EG right now, and they capitalized even though losing the Baron.
Okay, I mean, Soul got in there. Soul did some pretty good work in that fight. Mazel actually gave EG a fighting chance. Now we're just going to have to see if EG can actually set up the map well enough to get Soul point. I feel like with the Baron, AoE's at a heavy advantage now. You mentioned that gold lead. Pretty big for the side of AoE. That's not good shape for EG. Again, this was a 4v5. They really didn't catch Gamsu like on this approach. Like they weren't able to play the Meganar. Mobility had to flash early. And yeah, I don't know how Shaden was stuffed out of the pit there, but that worked out pretty well.
That Mega Death Rocket did a lot, and then Soul cleaned it up. Holy cow.
Well, Shaden actually had a chance to smite it. Wasn't able to get it down in time. It is secured. Soul did some really nice work in the back half. Really like mobility too with the Gale Force stepping up, just sneaking Gamsu, knowing that if he gets the kill, he gets excited and things are good to go. I don't know how fast he could have pushed for Dark Wings. I think if he pushes up there, he actually might have had a chance, but...
I just really appreciate the play from AoE around the back end of that pit, right? I know in the end they still got in, but it's about that chaos, weaving it in between. Winnie just making sure that they get that objective. Now they're using this to pressure down bot.
This is a team that they don't even just have synergy playing in these tournaments, right? Like they played in collegiate tournaments, right? Lynx is competing still at the collegiate level. And they play together. A lot of these guys are University of Western Ontario, right? UWO, great program throughout the years.
There's a flank. Okay. Oh, see Gamsu getting so close to a Meganar, but it actually might not be a fight that AoE can take here unless Ryoma gets caught out. It goes over the wall.
Ryoma wants that Meganar to take it.
It delays it.
Yeah.
EG a little bit hesitant here. Here comes SkyTech with the quickness on the backline. They find him, but mobility's down. Shutdown goes to Lynx. And the all-out from Soul tries to get Dark Wings away, but it is Beautiful pouncing from AOE and Skytech, but set up a flank from the heavens.
You can be so creative with the approaches that you take on Rakan, and Skytech used it to the max there, getting there early, hiding in vision, and taking a little bit of revenge against his old Oregon EG.
Yeah.
As for round 1, it was Perry and Faisal. This time around, it's Skytech, baby, as he's trying to take him down.
All of the pass coming back to Hot EG, a tier 2 tower. They still have Baron buff for 30 seconds, and they're about to get two tier 2 towers because of it, and the gold lead's going to explode that much more.
Really well done for AOE. We'll see how much EG wants to push on the back half. They still don't have mobility, but Shaden's posturing a little bit. Doesn't have that Glacial Prison up. But how funky we getting here?
Oh, Darkwing's caught out in the back,
Ryoma.
but no, all 3 members are right there. Ryoma goes gold, and he's like, what have we done? As another kill goes to AOE. Winnie's on a killing spree now.
Well, EG, we asked how far they were going to push that. That was a little far, I will say.
Over the
Ryoma.
edge.
Yeah, a little over the edge. Pops a stopwatch.
Dude, they have all 3 tier 2 towers now.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I think the big thing, again, Darkling's on this Orianna. Orianna, I've been on the Orianna train a little bit here, Mazel. I think a lot of it...
Just a little bit.
Just a lot of it, you know, before she got unnecessary buffs twice, and before Azir got nerfed. Anyway, Control Mage, the ball's so hard to play around if you are Jinx. Like, you have to be so careful.
Yeah.
And once you get a death cap popped as Darkwings, like level 16, you're flashless, you almost can't even play the game as Jinx, right? You have to look out for where Orianna's at all times. You need your team to buy space. You can just afford to hit against Orianna. You can't go too far forward against Orianna and Xayah. And again, EG has a comp where they all need to go forward in order for this to work.
They absolutely do, but the biggest thing is not getting mobility caught out. That was such dissection of the comp from EG, from Winnie, from Skytech, to perma-focus onto mobility there. Because once they lose mobility right now, that is their damage. Yes, you'll have Ryoma. Yes, you'll have Sol being able to pick out one person, but mobility is the key.
3-1-4. Good chance to step up for mobility. Not an easy task, because, okay, Skytech, he's got Lynx here in the back half.
He gets caught here. He
pick.
Have the quickness to delay a little bit. Winnie right there.
Okay.
As he does.
Nice attempt there from EG. They do burn 2 ults for it, but nothing in return. Rakan's still so slippery.
Is that a GA for Winnie right there? I think I see
it looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
It's big.
Well, we'll see. EG just actually trying to find something, honestly, as they are still about 7,000 gold in a deficit. What is a GA? Third item. Oh, interesting. Well, everybody. Okay, so I'll just say AOE. They've been on par. They all are completing items all at the same time. I wonder if they ate breakfast together. Like, they're all just reaching the heights together. What do you say all the time about ships and rising tides?
Yeah, a rising tide raises all ships, you know?
A 3-item spike is a pretty hefty raise of the tide. We'll see EG now getting caught out after this. Thumbs up from Ryoma, maybe signifying the end. The kill goes to Lynx. And things are really just running away from EG at this point.
I mean, EG, they're forced to look for picks, make plays. They know that they're being outscaled in this game and that things are grim. So they're really trying to get creative with some of the angles, and AOE just finding them out. Again, pretty hefty gold lead for them. EG's not going to stop making plays. And as long as AOE keeps on scouting him out like this, it's going to be grim for EG, as that's a reset coming out from Smoothie. Soul showing bot. He has TP, but they're going to start this Baron on spawn. I don't even know if EG can get close.
God, they burn it so fast now as well.
Oh my goodness.
Ryoma's nowhere even nearby. He's trying to get down there, but the Baron down. Does the Mega Death Rocket do it? No, nice block from Darkwings. Baron goes over to AoE. The resets come through. We have Soul trying to get a tier 2 tower down here for some bounty gold, but the resets are too quick. He has to back off.
Now that is a true Challengers veteran right there, playing around that Jinx rocket. That's someone that they've seen the power of Jinx and these steals, you know.
They have indeed, and Mobility just trying to give one last gasp effort here in these moments, but there is still the side lane to be talked about. Obviously, Baron up for another 2.5 minutes, and not as much to actually break into. Maybe a little bit of extension needed from AoE. I think they can do so without overstepping a little bit.
I like AoE just sticking to the lanes here, but they have opened themselves up to a bot side play. Shaden
Ryoma's on the flank with the Meganar. Wants to find it. He's going in. He's got engaged on, though, but the Glacial Prison goes white. No. Ryoma's just out of the fight. There's nothing there in the fight. The triple shockwave from Darkwave. And AOE arrive pointed present in the lower bracket series. They take game 1, dominating EG. And we gotta see a bounce back, or this is EG getting knocked out again.
I mean, it was an attempt from Ryoma. He had the Megadar, but he had Flash Up, he had Zanya's up, and the Megadar, nothing connects as AOE locks him down for free, and that's it. Yep, goodbye. Good night. AOE, too damn good.
The last bit effort there from EG will fall on deaf ears as AOE take game 1.
I mean, part of it was the draft for EG. Like, you have the melees, you have to go in, you have to make plays early to get ahead. But EG, they were the ones making plays. They were finding the kills in the side lanes. But AOE, like, this is something like we usually see AOE do, right? This is a weakness they had earlier in the season where they were over-committing to plays. They were overstacking side lanes, just trying to be desperate, get kills. The patience from AOE that game, the fact that they just let Gnar, let Orianna continue to lane, get some plates on their own when EG did go for those plays. AOE didn't lose too much. I think that was the big difference maker getting out of the early game. And EG just felt like they had to make play after play because they knew they were falling further and further behind in the game. Not just given the goal, but also the comps. Really well played by AOE.
I wanted reactive gameplay. I wanted them to kind of figure out where EG were fighting. We know how aggressive EG are. And they did just that. It was beautiful to see from AOE from start to finish. And now we got to see what our Rally Cry halftime segment has in store for us. We'll be back after a short little break.